Over the years, the X-Men have changed a lot. Retcons, recasts, and reboots aside, they've also evolved the X gene that makes each of them mutants. But what does that look like? Well, some pretty sick transformations, not gonna lie. Today, we're going over all of them, including some from the comics you've never seen in Fox's X-Men. Wade Wilson, Weapon 11. We saw the insane, fourth-wall breaking, part-time mercenary, full-time clown in 2016's Deadpool. But before that, there was another version in 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine. Wade Wilson was actually introduced as a member of the Mutant Task Force, legendary for pretty much the same things: his elite mastery of twin katanas, and an inability to stop talking deeply seared into his bones. But we never see Wade suit up in his classic colors. In fact, X-Men Origins gave us Weapon 11, which was pretty much a Frankenstein take on the classic mercenary. And this guy's pretty much the opposite of what we know about Deadpool. He's the result of a lot of messy science that pretty much turned him into a guinea pig. His mouth? Sewn shut. None of that timeless biting wit. His eyes? Superman-style laser beams. His powers? Anything between teleporting, retractable elbow blades, and extreme super strength. That's because he's effectively a mutant cocktail, possessing an overpowered arsenal of abilities harvested from other mutants. It wasn't the Deadpool we thought we'd get, but it was definitely up there with one of the weirdest things we've ever seen. Speaking of that version of Deadpool, he actually ends up killing this guy in the post-credits of Deadpool 2 with a nice, clean headshot.
Hey, it's me! Don't scratch!
Guess they added a knockoff version of his classic super regeneration. In the comics, though, his healing factor is no joke. Wade actually became a part of the Weapon X program to cure his cancer, and the idea was getting shot up with a serum derived from Wolverine's DNA. Logan has a top 5 healing factor in Marvel, so it wasn't a bad idea. Except that it never really cured him. Cancer works by multiplying mutated cells, so Deadpool's new healing abilities were locked in a never-ending tug of war, constantly healing his cancer but never curing it. This process also disfigured his face, and that's pretty much his backstory. Robert Kelly. This senator can bend, squish, and squeeze his way out of pretty much anything. But what's ironic is how he actually became a mutant. He's a mega conservative with a deep intolerance for anything with powers. In the movie, he's basically got one goal: to make mutants public enemy number 1 by having them reveal their powers and abilities to a public that doesn't trust them at all. I mean, just listen to the guy's logic.
Expose themselves. What is it the mutant community has to hide, I wonder, that makes them so afraid to identify themselves? The truth is that mutants are very real, and they are among us. We must know who they are, and above all, we must know what they can do.
In the comics, it's more or less the same deal. He's the driving force behind the Mutant Affairs Control Act. Although in some stories, it's his assassination at the hands of Mystique's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants that provokes the Control Act. In the 2000s X-Men, though, he's just abducted by Mystique and taken to Magneto's lair. When Magneto gets his hands on the Senator, he puts him through a machine that triggers an artificial mutation, transforming Kelly into the same kind of creature he's spent taxpayer money campaigning against. Honestly, it makes sense for a guy who hates mutants to end up being one. And what are his powers? Well, it's not really too clear. It seems like he's a human jellyfish. Kelly's body honestly starts to melt into water from what I can tell, and it becomes extremely squishy. He even manages to squeeze through prison bars because of this. Beast. When you think of Hank McCoy, your first thought is the wild blue beast, but that wasn't really his mutation to begin with. It was a transformation he triggered through his research. Hank never liked his original ability, which was basically just monkey feet. While it did give him a lot of speed and agility, it was never something he wanted. His disproportionate inhuman-looking body made him deeply self-conscious and insecure. And so he tried to look for a cure, and when he couldn't, he tried to make one.
I don't want to feel like a freak all the time. I just want to look.
Normal.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, the serum he developed actually ended up sending his mutation into overdrive. And now, not only was his body far less human than before, but he also had to deal with animalistic impulses. Beast did get a lot stronger as a result, though, but I think he just wanted to take his shoes off and not freak out a potential date. It's a pretty similar deal in the comics. He doesn't actually start as the Beast. During his time as a genetic researcher at the Brand Corporation, Hank isolated a hormone extract that triggered mutations. Thing is, this was a milestone discovery, and a particular coworker, Dr. Maddox, was really jealous of Hank's work. He wanted to steal the research and pass it off as his own. But before he could, Hank drank the serum, and the result is the iconic X-Man you see today. Mystique. When it comes to the mutant world, no one plays the espionage game quite like Mystique. Born Raven Darkholm, she's arguably the most dangerous wildcard on the board. As far as transformations go, well, she's got them all. Her blue skin form is her base, but her true power is in her shapeshifting. This girl can become anyone. From their mannerisms to their fingerprints, she's a one-woman Black Ops unit with an ability that makes her the ideal stealth asset. And to anyone who isn't a seasoned telepath, it's pretty much impossible to catch Mystique in the act. She can even bypass eye scanners.
Welcome, Professor.
Imagine if she turned into Nick Fury. That'd be a day. And by the way, it's not just people. In some adaptations, she can even mimic objects. Her personality is as multi-layered as her abilities, because she's constantly shifting allegiances. Earlier, I talked about how Mystique was a part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Mystique doesn't really age like a normal human either. Her shapeshifting constantly regenerates her cells, which is why she looks so young despite being a lot older than anyone else. Archangel. This guy's pretty underrated, even though he had one of the coolest transformations in the franchise. Warren Worthington spends a lot of 2016's X-Men Apocalypse at rock bottom. After a savage underground cage fight against Nightcrawler that pretty much shatters his confidence, the once proud X-Man is reduced to a drunk mutant. What happens after that, though, is pretty insane. Angel grows a pair, literally, and this time, it's not feathers, it's raw metal. This is a pretty serious power-up. He's faster, sharper, and now his wings have several lethal edges. He was always good aerial support, but Archangel's transformation gave him that extra bit of pop that his powers needed. These aren't just stuck to his back either. He can fire off those metallic feathers as deadly projectiles. He has the same powers in the comics, and he's also one of Apocalypse's Horsemen of Death in the movies. There is a big difference though. In the comics, his biometallic wings are also laced with a lethal neurotoxin that paralyzes anyone it cuts. Deadpool. As impressive as Weapon XI was, it's honestly nothing compared to some of the stuff Deadpool's done on screen and in the comics. His story is the same. Gets cancer, gets experimented on to cure it, and gets horribly disfigured in the process. But the result is a bit different in the movies. His cancer gets cured. Kinda.
No. It's a horror movie.
That happens in the comics too, depending on which storyline you're reading. In the movies though, Wade is a superpowered mercenary who can't be taken down. Despite Weapon XI's deep bag of mutated tricks, Deadpool's own mutations have let him survive anything and everything, literally. And I'm genuinely not exaggerating. This man survived being disintegrated into actual ash. His regen in the movies isn't too far behind that either. Just take a look at this. By the way, just a while later, this guy's already growing another pair of legs. But Deadpool's mutation is unique in more ways than one, Because it's derived from Wolverine's, it actually works with Logan's own regeneration. In Wolverine number 23, they both were pulverized into a pool of blood. And since the blood belonged to both, the result was, well, really gnarly. Both of them survived this and separated. It's not really a transformation, but it's a bit too cool to leave out. Dark Phoenix. We can't talk X-Men without addressing the cosmic nuke in the room, Jean Grey. Her Dark Phoenix arc is easily one of the most legendary storylines in comic history. And that's true for her across the comics too. The Phoenix Force within her is one of the most powerful entities throughout Marvel history. The first time we saw it was in X-Men number 101 when it possessed Jean Grey. And in the comics, it's essentially a sentient force of rebirth that predates even the universe and the darkness that came before. The Dark Phoenix was actually born due to the Phoenix Force experiencing human emotions for the first time, which clouded its judgment. This was an entity of power and destruction, and it was so powerful that when it flew across the universe, it even attracted the attention of eternity. In 2019's Dark Phoenix film, this new power completely shatters her mental barriers. She goes from the team's telepathic anchor to an uncontrollable nuke, accidentally killing Mystique during a violent telekinetic episode. To make matters worse, she gets manipulated by Vuk, the leader of a shapeshifting alien race called the Dabari, who wants to siphon the Phoenix Force to conquer Earth. But let's give credit where credit is due. The movie absolutely nails the visual spectacle of her final evolution. In the final battle of the movie, instead of fearing it and losing her mind like her old self, she actively surrenders to the Dark Force, weaponizing it to disintegrate Vuk and save her friends. She flies into space, fully embracing the fiery Phoenix imagery in a scene that easily lives rent-free as one of the best visuals in the entire movie franchise. Emma Frost. While her original mutation is telepathy,
We'd find you, Henry. There's not a fortress in the world that could keep us out.
Emma actually gets a pretty significant boost in both the movies and the comics. Her diamond form is abnormally strong, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Her skin turns to a complete diamond, making her immune to most blunt trauma, bullets, and for some reason, even telepathy.
You can stop trying to read my mind, Sugar. You're never going to get anything from me while I'm like this.
This also means she can't really unleash any telepathy of her own, though. Maybe brainwaves don't travel well through diamonds? In the comics, she's gone up against some serious heavy hitters, including throwing hands with Hulk in this form. She also becomes self-sustaining, no food or water required, and she can tank up extreme temperatures without a sweat. This makes her one of the most defense-heavy characters in all of Marvel, though her durability still falls a bit short of the actual top tiers. In the comics, this is actually a secondary mutation of hers, but it works as a transformation too, since, well, it's literally a power-up that changes how she looks and fights. Wolverine. Wolverine's known for a lot of things. An adamantium skeleton, extreme regeneration, being a huge jacked man.
Bitch took her. It was my father's obsession.
Get it? Because, Hugh Jackman? No? Okay. But the adamantium wasn't actually something he was born with. No, that was something he got as a result of the Weapon X experiments. Logan was captured and experimented on like a lab rat, and his skeleton was coated in adamantium along with intense brainwashing that almost drove him feral. This actually prevented Logan's actual transformation since it overloaded his healing factor. Without it, well, Logan's mind doesn't really hold up, and we actually got to see this happen in 1995's X-Men number 25. In order to stop Magneto from killing Quicksilver, Logan attacked Magneto, but using his magnetic powers, Magneto actually ripped out all the adamantium from Logan's skeleton. This sent his healing factor way past its absolute limit, and it took Jean Grey and Charles Xavier holding his body and mind together just to keep him alive. The result was that since the adamantium wasn't there to keep his regeneration at bay, Logan actually de-evolved into a much more feral version of himself. So that's technically Wolverine's transformation, but honestly, it doesn't help him. Sure, he's faster and slightly stronger, but he loses his sanity completely, and he becomes a threat to everyone around him. Plus, in this form, his claws are actually made of bone. Well, that's it for every mutant transformation so far, and some of these are really out there in terms of crazy. What's one you'd like to see? Personally, I hope that we get a feral Wolverine one of these days. It'd be one of the goriest things in Marvel outside of the Punisher.